Greetings, wanderers of the night. I'm the Keeper of Tales, here to guide you into a world of dreams. I know you've come to this video to drift off into sleep, so before we begin, give it a gentle like and join the circle by subscribing. Tell me, where are you resting tonight, and what hour glows on your clock? Settle in, let the worries fade, and surrender to the calm. The old theater sat at the edge of town, its faded marquee barely visible through layers of grime and neglect. It had been abandoned for decades, a relic of an era when live performances brought life to quiet streets. I never intended to enter. It was curiosity that led me there, drawn by whispers of secrets buried within its walls. My name is Emily, and I came to this place seeking answers about my family's past. My grandmother had spoken often of her childhood in this very town, mentioning a theater where she once performed. She always described it with such fondness, yet whenever I pressed for details, her smile would fade, replaced by an expression I couldn't decipher. Now, standing before the crumbling facade, I felt compelled to uncover what lay hidden beneath those dusty curtains. The entrance creaked as I pushed open the heavy wooden door, releasing a wave of stale air tinged with mildew. Inside, the grandeur of the theater remained, though time had taken its toll. Velvet seats sagged under years of disuse, their vibrant red now dulled to a muted brown. The stage stretched out before me, framed by ornate gold trimwork, partially obscured by cobwebs. At the center stood a piano, its keys yellowed but still intact. As I explored further, I noticed something peculiar. A faint hum, resonating through the building, growing louder with each step toward the stage. It wasn't mechanical. It sounded almost alive. Ignoring the unease creeping over me, I climbed onto the stage, drawn to the source of the sound. Beneath the piano, etched into the floorboards, were symbols unlike anything I'd ever seen. They pulsed faintly, matching the rhythm of the mysterious hum. Before I could examine them closely, the lights flickered, plunging the room into darkness. Panic surged through me, but then a voice echoed from somewhere unseen. "You've awakened the performance," it said, neither male nor female, carrying an otherworldly quality. "Prepare yourself." Suddenly, figures began materializing on stage, men and women dressed in elaborate costumes from another time. Their movements were stiff, almost robotic, yet undeniably real. They performed scenes from plays long forgotten, their voices overlapping in a cacophony of dialogue that told stories both beautiful and tragic. Each act revealed fragments of history tied to this theater, tales of love lost, betrayal, sacrifice, and redemption. Among these phantoms, one figure stood apart, a young woman whose resemblance to my grandmother left me breathless. She played the lead role in every scene, her presence commanding, despite the spectral nature of her form. As the final act unfolded, she turned to face me directly, speaking words I recognized instantly, lines my grandmother used to recite during our bedtime rituals. "You are part of this story now," the ghostly actress declared, her voice breaking free from the chorus of others. "Your choice will determine how it ends." Confusion gave way to resolve as I realized the truth. The theater wasn't just a building. It was a vessel for memories, preserving moments too precious or painful to let go. Those who performed here became bound to its magic, reliving their greatest triumphs and regrets, until someone new arrived to carry the torch. I stepped forward, placing my hand over the glowing symbols on the floor. A surge of energy coursed through me, filling my mind with visions of lives intertwined across generations. Among them was my grandmother, smiling warmly as she handed me her legacy. the responsibility to ensure these stories endured. When the vision faded, the theater returned to silence, its ghosts gone, but not forgotten. With newfound purpose, I vowed to restore the space, honoring those who had come before, while creating opportunities for future performers to leave their mark. Though challenges awaited, I faced them without fear, knowing I carried the strength of countless voices within me. And so, the cycle continued, a timeless symphony of laughter, tears, and everything in between, echoing endlessly within the walls of the old theater. The small coastal village of Seabrook seemed like a postcard come to life, with its quaint cottages painted in pastel hues and fishing boats bobbing gently in the harbor. It was here, during an unseasonably stormy spring, that I found myself drawn by whispers of an ancient secret buried beneath its picturesque facade. I had arrived seeking solace after months of relentless heartache, a place where time moved slower and thoughts could breathe freely. The innkeeper, Mrs. Harper, greeted me warmly when I checked into the only guest house still open for visitors this late in the season. Her sharp green eyes seemed to pierce through my carefully constructed mask of calm as she handed over the key to room 12. "You'll be comfortable there," she said with a knowing smile. "Though, do try not to disturb the neighbors." It wasn't until later, while unpacking my things, that I noticed the faint scratching noise coming from the walls. At first, I dismissed it as old pipes, or perhaps mice. But as night fell and the wind howled outside, the sound grew louder, more deliberate. It wasn't random. It followed patterns, almost rhythmic, like Morse code tapped out by invisible hands. Sleep became impossible. Every creak of the floorboards sent my heart racing. By dawn, exhaustion weighed heavily on my shoulders, yet curiosity gnawed relentlessly at the edges of my mind. Determined to uncover the source of these unsettling noises, I ventured downstairs during breakfast, hoping Mrs. Harper might shed some light on the matter. She listened intently as I described what I'd heard, her expression shifting between concern and something darker: fear, regret. Finally, after several moments of silence, she leaned closer, lowering her voice so only I could hear. "That room, it holds memories of those who once lived here," she whispered. "Some say it connects us to places beyond our understanding." Her words sparked both fascination and dread within me. What kind of connection could exist between an ordinary bedroom and realms unknown? Over the next few days, I delved deeper into the history of Seabrook, visiting its library and speaking with locals whenever possible. Each conversation revealed fragments of a larger puzzle: tales of fishermen disappearing without trace, strange lights appearing offshore during storms, and most intriguingly, legends about an underwater kingdom ruled by beings known only as the Deep Ones. One elderly man, Mr. Langley, shared a story passed down through generations in his family. Centuries ago, according to him, humans and the Deep Ones coexisted peacefully, exchanging knowledge and resources under strict agreements. However, greed eventually led to betrayal, forcing the aquatic race to retreat beneath the waves forever, or so they thought. Since then, certain individuals born with ties to both worlds occasionally emerged, acting as intermediaries between land and sea. These bridge souls, as they were called, possessed unique abilities, but carried heavy burdens alongside them. As pieces of this mysterious narrative came together, I couldn't ignore the growing suspicion that I too might play a role in this centuries-old drama. The scratches continued unabated, now joined by soft murmurs carried on the wind whenever I stepped outside. They weren't random sounds anymore. They formed phrases, questions directed specifically at me. Who am I? Why have you come? Do you remember? Desperate for answers, I returned to room 12 one evening, armed with flashlights, recording equipment, and unwavering determination. As darkness enveloped the room, the activity intensified exponentially. Shadows danced across the walls, taking shapes reminiscent of fish-like creatures with glowing eyes. A cold breeze swept through despite all windows being firmly shut, carrying with it scents of saltwater and seaweed. Then came the voice, not spoken aloud, but resonating directly inside my head. "Welcome home, Bridge Soul." Panic surged through me initially, threatening to overwhelm rational thought. But slowly, amidst fear and uncertainty, clarity began to emerge. Memories long suppressed surfaced unbidden. Images of shimmering underwater cities, towering spires made of coral and pearl, and faces familiar yet alien staring back at me. I realized then that my presence here wasn't coincidental. I had been called back to fulfill a destiny intertwined with Seabrook's hidden past. Over subsequent nights, communication deepened between us, the entity residing within the walls and myself. Through visions and telepathic exchanges, I learned about responsibilities expected of me if I chose to embrace this heritage. Protecting fragile balance maintained between surface dwellers and deep ones meant safeguarding sacred sites scattered along the coastline, ensuring neither side encroached upon territories reserved exclusively for others. Failure would result catastrophic consequences affecting entire ecosystems surrounding area, yet acceptance carried personal sacrifices equally daunting. Once acknowledged publicly as Bridge Soul, normalcy vanished, permanently replaced purposeful existence, dictated needs greater whole, rather individual desires. Relationships severed, easily repaired. Trust earned, difficult maintained. Given nature duties required secrecy, discretion utmost importance. Despite mounting pressure weighing heavily upon shoulders, decision ultimately mine alone make. Could commit lifetime service protecting realm barely understood, or turn away opportunity gain wisdom power unimaginable scale. Final revelation awaited final descent cavern system located base nearby cliffside. Accessible tide pool revealing concealed entrance low tide. There awaited throne room sorts carved directly living rock, adorned intricate carvings, depicting scenes, harmonious coexistence humanity, deep ones throughout history. Seated central pedestal figure cloaked flowing green robes extending far below sight, waited patiently arrival. Child, spoke figure voice echoing chamber walls. You stand threshold becoming legend fulfilling prophecy foretold ages past. Choose wisely, path ahead, carries weight, countless lives, rests, balance achieved, maintaining peace. Two great civilizations. Step forward, accept mantle leadership offered. Step back, allow cycle hatred, vengeance continue perpetuity. Frozen moment hesitation before stepping forward, accepting challenge presented. Instantaneous transformation occurred. Consciousness expanding dimensions previously unfathomable comprehension. Awareness shifted fluidity, water currents, subtle shifts. Temperature salinity, informing decisions benefit collective whole. No longer confined boundaries, singular perspective, gained appreciation, interconnectedness, everything existence. Thus began journey serving bridge, connecting disparate cultures, fostering mutual respect, cooperation, necessary survival, thriving future generations. Though challenges remained, constant vigilance required detecting potential threats arising, either side divide. Fulfillment derived, knowing contributed preservation. Delicate equilibrium, preserving harmony, natural order, world above, below waves, crashing endlessly shorelines, beloved hometown Seabrook, the small, seemingly innocent town of Briarwood, lay nestled between rolling hills and dense forests, its cobblestone streets lined with quaint cottages that seemed to whisper secrets from another time. It was here, during an unusually stormy autumn evening, that my journey began. A journey that would unravel mysteries buried deep within the heart of this picturesque place. I arrived seeking answers about my family's past, drawn by vague references in old letters mentioning a connection to Briarwood. My name is Eleanor, and though I had always considered myself grounded in reality, the moment I stepped off the train and felt the chill of the wind against my skin, I knew something about this town was different. The air carried an electric charge, as if the very atmosphere brimmed with untold stories waiting to be uncovered. My first stop was the local library, where Mrs. Hawthorne, the librarian, greeted me with sharp eyes and a knowing smile. "You're not the first to come looking," she said, after hearing my query about any records related to my surname. She handed me a dusty tome, bound in cracked leather, its pages filled with cryptic symbols and handwritten notes detailing events long forgotten by most. Among them were mentions of rituals performed beneath the full moon, strange lights appearing on the outskirts of town, and disappearances never fully explained. As days turned into weeks, I delved deeper into these accounts, piecing together fragments of a larger puzzle. Briarwood, it seemed, harbored a secret so ancient it predated even the oldest settlers. Centuries ago, the land itself had been revered, or perhaps feared, as sacred ground for beings existing beyond human comprehension. Over time, knowledge of their existence faded, replaced by myths and legends passed down through generations. But some believed they still lingered, watching silently from the shadows. One evening, while exploring the woods behind the library, I stumbled upon an overgrown path leading to a clearing bathed in silvery moonlight. At its center stood an altar carved directly into the earth, surrounded by stones etched with markings identical to those described in the book. As I approached, a voice echoed around me, not spoken aloud, but resonating directly inside my mind. Who dares disturb our resting place? Startled, yet unable to flee, I froze, my heart pounding wildly. A figure emerged from the darkness, tall and imposing, its features obscured by flowing robes. Its presence radiated power so immense it pressed against my chest like an invisible weight. Yet despite its intimidating demeanor, there was something familiar about it, as though we shared a bond buried deep within my soul. "You belong here," it stated simply, extending a hand toward me. Though fear clawed at my instincts, curiosity outweighed caution, and I reached out to touch its palm. In that instant, visions flooded my mind, images of ancestors who once walked this land, forming alliances with entities dwelling between worlds. They had chosen specific descendants to serve as intermediaries, ensuring harmony between realms. Now, it appeared, the cycle had come full circle. Reluctantly, I accepted my role as the newest guardian of Briarwood's hidden truths. Each night brought new lessons, teaching me how to harness abilities latent within me all along. Through meditation and practice, I learned to perceive energies others could not, communicate with forces unseen, and protect the delicate balance maintained between light and shadow. However, such gifts came at great cost. Isolation became my constant companion, for few outside the circle understood or trusted the burdens I now carried. Though challenges remained constant, requiring vigilance against threats arising from either side of the divide, fulfillment derived from knowing I contributed to preserving a fragile equilibrium vital for survival. Sometimes late at night, when the world grew quiet, I wondered whether other towns like Briarwood existed elsewhere, their guardians walking similar paths, unknown to one another. And though uncertainty lingered regarding what future held, peace settled unexpectedly, replacing doubt with purpose. Thus continued the endless cycle of duty and discovery, each dawn offering opportunities to explore limits while each sunset provided sanctuary for reflection. Though trials undoubtedly awaited ahead, faced them now with courage, born from understanding ultimate triumph, belonged neither solely to darkness nor light alone, but harmony, existing between. And so, wanderers of the night, our tale dissolves into the shadows. The echoes of this story linger softly, like a whisper on the wind, carrying you deeper into the embrace of dreams. Rest now, beneath the watchful stars, and let the stillness cradle you until the dawn. Sleep well, my friends, until the next tale calls you back. Good night.